Trump administration admits that it has jailed a young husband and father from New York, Mahmoud Khalil, without any evidence or charge of a crime. The Trump administration admits that they have thrown him in a cell thousands of miles away in Louisiana from his family because he attended a protest, and that they are detaining him for the content of his speech and nothing more.
Elon Musk loves corruption. Elon Musk loves criminality. And Elon Musk loves to lie about both of those things, which is pretty much all Doge has been about, spinning this narrative about, cutting government waste, saving you the taxpayer money, when in fact, they've done the opposite. The programs that millions, tens of hundreds of millions of people in America rely on. Those are the ones that Elon is going after, while making sure that his companies are protected from any accountability they face from government agencies that Elon is trying to slash. That is what it has been all about. But it's also been about a number, $2 trillion. Elon said he was cutting from the government budget. Well, of course that's not happening, but it's going farther than not happening. We're seeing the opposite happen, and that was called out live on air in a brutal fact check of Elon that we're going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into Elon getting brutally fact-checked for this lie he has been telling, first, I want to see a funny story about some other bad news in Elon's life.
This is what started happening when you hit the crosswalk button. Instead of the normal automated voice telling you to wait until it was safe to walk, instead this other thing now happens. And I want to tell you before you hear this, this is not the real voice of Elon Musk.
Wait. Hi, this is Elon Musk. Welcome to Palo Alto, the home of Tesla engineering. They say money can't buy happiness, and yeah, okay. I guess that's true. God knows I've tried. But it can buy a Cybertruck, and that's pretty sick, right? Right? I'm so alone.
Says at the end there, F word, I'm so alone. That is obviously not the real voice of Elon Musk. It appears to be an AI-generated audio clone of Elon Musk's voice. People have apparently somehow hacked into the crosswalk systems in this handful of towns in Silicon Valley, so that in these towns, when you push the crosswalk button, you get a message like that one, or one like this.
Hi, I'm Elon. Can we be friends? Will you be my friend? I'll give you a Cybertruck, I promise. Okay, look, you don't know the level of depravity I would stoop to just for a crumb of approval. I mean, let's be real. It's not like I had any moral convictions to begin with, right?
Again, that is not Elon Musk's actual voice. Somebody has apparently used AI to make these fake messages that sound like Elon Musk's voice. There's another one that says, hi, this is Elon Musk. I'd like to personally welcome you to Palo Alto. People keep saying cancer is bad, but have you ever tried being a cancer? It's effing awesome. There's another with a fake A voice that sounds like President Trump, and the Musk voice starts talking about how he feels about Trump, and then the Trump voice interrupts and says, sweetie, come back to bed. That one's super creepy. There's also a couple of these things that feature not Elon Musk, but instead the fake voice of Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg in these fake AI-generated recordings, claiming credit for undermining democracy and making life miserable for trans people, and quote, cooking our grandparents' brains with AI slop. So there's been reporting on this from NBC7 in the Bay Area and the San Francisco Chronicle and Palo Alto Online, and also from The Verge. Everybody basically trying to figure out how this was done, how you hack into these crosswalk systems, and who might have done it. I don't think anybody's trying to figure out why they did it. Motive seems pretty obvious.
I love any and all Elon trolling. just makes me happy. This is a guy who, more so than being focused on the accumulation of more wealth than anyone could ever spend in any 100,000 lifetimes, or just like being the most corrupt individual in the country, Elon is most focused on people liking him, which will never happen. And in fact, the more he tries, the less they like him, which is pretty funny. But it's no surprise he's going after Social Security. He's going after Medicare. He's stealing FAA contracts, putting us in danger to enrich Starlink. Why would anyone like him? Especially when the one thing he promised to do, he did the opposite. That was broken down on MSNBC right here.
Let's just talk about Musk overall and Doge. I mean, the promises were, target cutting 150 billion, 2 trillion annually from the budget. I mean, they went in there, a bunch of people with, I believe, no clearance, no cabinet position. So there's those issues and those questions that have a lot of us wondering. But okay, so what's been the outcome of these grand projections?
So, yeah, as you said, there's been an enormous amount of commotion. You've had a bunch of people lose their jobs. You've had confusion all over the place. What do we have to show for it? Well, back during the campaign, Trump claimed that he was going to cut $2 trillion from our annual budget. And by the way, our annual budget is $7 trillion. So you're talking, he would have been talking obviously about a massive, massive cut. They quickly realized that was not successful. In January, they said we'll cut $1 trillion out of the budget. And by the way, the government's fiscal year is now more than half over anyway. But then on April 10th, they lowered it to $150 billion. So 2 trillion, 1 trillion, 150. But even the 150 billion, the New York Times did a very thorough investigation of this. 92 billion of it is unspecified. Nobody knows where that's coming from. Of the other 63 billion, there were all kinds of mistakes, including, for example, a contract for 1.9 billion they claim credit for actually canceled during the Biden administration. So for all the commotion, all the layoffs, all the unhappy people, there's very little to show for it. You can see that most clearly over here because this tracks federal spending month by month since the beginning of each year back from 2022. And as you would expect, it went up a little bit in 23, a little bit in 24, but it's actually gone up a good bit in 25. So there's still no impact whatsoever on government spending from all of, as I said, the commotion that Musk has created in Washington.
Wow. Morning Joe, economic analyst.
So not only did Elon not reach his goal, not only did he not accomplish that, but the government is actually spending more money now that the budget is increased. What? So they failed that tremendously. But of course, that was never the goal. The goal wasn't to save money. The goal was to help Elon, and clearly he's done a lot of that. Was called out by Jessica Tarlov for it live. Right here.
I wanted to talk to you about what DOGE has been doing. So you've been making cuts to a lot of the agencies that have open investigations and regulatory battles with your companies. At the same time, you continue to get billions in government contracts. Tesla gets billions in subsidies. How do you explain that to the American people?
Well, everything that DOGE does is an open book. So I think the most transparent the most transparent organization in government ever. Every single DOGE action is listed on the D.O.G.E website. It's also listed on the X handle. So if anyone has a concern about any one of those actions, they can bring that up, they can raise that. And I do want to say, like, sometimes we make a mistake. Nobody bats 1,000. We will at times make a mistake, and we'll act very quickly to correct it. I am under such an extreme spotlight, so much scrutiny, that it's literally impossible for me to get away with anything nefarious. And obviously, nor do I wish to. So this is a case where we have radical transparency. We're actually willing to admit that we do make mistakes. Often people are not willing to admit they make mistakes, but we are. But we want to emphasize we fix them quickly, and we're trying to do the right thing for the American taxpayer, for the American people. And I think history will be the judge that what we've done here and what we're doing is a very good thing for the strength and future of America.
This has always been the point. Elon wanted to go after the agencies that held him accountable. He wanted to carve out some more government contracts. He wanted to pretend like he was the big, strong, cool guy. He was the co-president. He saw himself as this important, historic figure. And he's just not, he is just a greedy bastard using the money that we gave him through our tax dollars to try to steal more of our money and buy up our elections. And I've had enough of it, frankly. Not just Elon, but all the dark money in our politics, which AOC called out on her Fighting Oligarchy tour right here.
When I first got to Congress, I was genuinely shocked by how the place worked, even having run against dark money in the first place. The everyday influence of corruption and dark money was astonishing. We have somehow conditioned ourselves in Congress to believe that it's normal for elected representatives who swear an oath to the American people to day trade individual stock and make millions with the sensitive information that we are entrusted with for the purpose of governing. How can anyone possibly make an objective vote on health care, energy, or war when their personal money is tied up in pharmaceutical companies, oil and gas companies, or defense company stocks? You can't. And we saw this play out this week with Trump's corrupt and disastrous tariff scheme. We can see now that his tariff shuffle didn't have anything to do with manufacturing like they claimed. I hope we recognize now that it was all about manipulating the markets so that he could quietly enrich his friends who bought the dip before reversing it all in the morning. What I'm about to say is a matter of fact. Donald Trump is a criminal. He was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he is lying and manipulating the stock market too. And if Donald Trump wants to find the rapists and criminals in this country, he needs to look in a mirror today. And to be clear, I don't care what party you are, Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter how powerful one is or what position they hold. Members of Congress holding and trading individual stock is wrong. It is corrosive, it is destructive, and it needs to be banned.
I think now is absolutely the time to be centering dark money, to be centering corruption as the very logical explanation for all that is happening in the Trump administration. What are tariffs? For it's not to bring back manufacturing, it's not to fix trade deficits. No, it's for Donald Trump to play the markets for him and his billionaire friends. And it's so he can take millions from CEOs who are looking for carve-outs in Donald Trump's tariffs, looking for those exemptions. He can bring them down to Mar-a-Lago and they can smoo him into their corruption. That's what it's about. Corruption is the best explanation that happens in all of the Trump administration. That and stupidity are the two best explanations. And I guess Pete Hegseth having a couple of sodas late at night when he's texting some war plans, I think those would be the three explainers of everything that we need to make clear and call out. We're certainly doing so on this show every day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.